Hey everyone, I'm super excited today to have with us a wonderful, very special guest. Today we have the absolute honor to host our dear friend Noah. Noah is the founder and CEO of a phenomenal company called ActiveFence. And definitely check them out afterwards because within in the lifespan of 2.5 years, they've done incredible things. But today's conversation is not necessarily about ActiveFence, but it's about Noah and who Noam is and who he is as a person, how he personally grew into becoming the person he is today. He's also an incredible husband, a father to two beautiful children, and just a wonderful guy. So I personally am super excited to have him here today to hear his story, but I'm also super excited to have him because I know the benefit that so many people's lives are going to be impacted through listening to his story. So Noam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Excited as well.
You're welcome. It's an absolute honor. A huge honor. So we're going to get deep. We're going to get personal. We're going to get vulnerable. We're going to, uncover the things that make you who you are today, the better things, so that way we can apply them to our own life. But I got to ask, I got to, tap into this right away. Before we started recording this conversation, we're speaking about luck and luck that comes into play within our personal life, luck that comes into play within the startup life. How much does luck actually make a difference?
I think that luck is, it's like I told you. Um, People don't like to think about luck as a major component of their success. They usually like to think about it as a major component of their failure, which is a human thing to do. If you think about that, we're always trying to be the winner of the story, not the loser of the story. But I honestly think that you can't underestimate how much luck is a part of everybody's story, and the one thing that we do have control on is like the amount of effort and the amount of heart and the amount of attention and care that we're actually investing into what we do, because we have control on so little things. We have control on the things that we build, on how how much care we gave them. We can have control on the systems that we build. We can have some control on the relationship that we have, but there's so many things outside that are just out of your control. Sometimes I'm telling my employees that they are talking too much sometimes with in a sales call. But always imagine that the person in front of you is hungry, or his stomach hurts, and there's something that you don't know. And that component that you don't know, that component that you can control, sometimes we call it luck, sometimes we call it like in other ways. Um, Never try to think that you can change it. And so always try, like, do the best that you can do, and remember that there's so much other stuff that you can control.
So then, how can we set ourselves up in order to anticipate that luck, to make sure that we are in the right setting? And I 100% agree. Like, we can't control. Once we let go and we let things just happen, we're in such a much better settings ourselves. Expectations just lead to resentments because they never go according to our standard or our way of thinking. But how can we build ourselves up in order to be able to recognize, I guess, that luck or anticipate the opportunity?
Yeah, got it. Oh, so think giving a lot of respect for the amount that to the impact of luck on our life is also very dangerous, because then you're kind of like diminishing your role in this thing. But we need, I think, from my very little experience in life, is that you need to build yourself and set the stage for yourself, for your surroundings, for the people around you, so you can a take advantage of your good luck, because sometimes it's like you everything is turning out awesome and all of the opportunities coming your way, but you don't know what to do with it. You don't even know how to recognize those opportunities, and sometimes you have like a lot of bad luck. And if you know what to do when you're encountering like those situations, you can pull yourself out of this bad situation. So you can't control most of the things that are happening. Things that are happening in the world. You're just like a tiny, tiny piece of it. But you can control how prepared you are to situations, and the skills that you have, or your resilience, or your piece of your mind, your clarity, your ability to concentrate. This is where you can actually control what happens after you understanding what your luck is. And I think that I did a lot of. I'm a very very lucky person. From the people that I met and meeting every day, to some of the business opportunities that came my way. But I was in the right mindset and I had the right skills to take advantage of those of those opportunities. To even recognize that, hey, something really rare just happened, and take it and do something about it, and not just like saying, hey, this is cool, something rare happened. Where do we eat lunch?
Hmm.
I hope I answered your question.
No, 100%. And I love the last thing you just mentioned. And multiple things you mentioned, but there's so many things to break down. But the last thing specifically, I think, so relates because a lot of times, people go through life. Or we ourselves, we go through life, and it could be people could complain, thinking, why is this happening to me? Why no opportunities opening up in front of my eyes? Or why can I get this job? Or why is my company not succeeding? And like you mentioned, you have to recognize those opportunities and grab it. And those
Yeah.
opportunities come to us every single day in multiple different types of disguises. So recognizing those opportunities and being able to go ahead and take it by the horns and run with it is part of the process of recognizing the luck, I guess, and realizing the blessings that come on a daily basis.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a combination of having the skill set and keep investing in yourself and keep building the tools that will help you take advantage of luck. But it's also being in this mindset, uh, that always on the lookout for opportunities, and this listening mode, because it's like it's so difficult. I was there as well to like try things like over and over and over again, and say nothing's happening, and everything looks like bad, and it's not going to work, and or it's just like boring. It's like every day the daily grind. It's like like the tomorrow will look exactly like yesterday, and nothing is going to happen, and kind of like not to get bored of yourself and of your life, and always be on the lookout, always invest in yourself, because it doesn't necessarily mean the opportunity will come. Maybe the opportunity will never
Right.
come. I think for most people, like, opportunities, like they either don't recognize the opportunity, or the opportunity never comes. You never know. But I think that it's very it's very unlikely to someone with that really wants something to happen and have the what it takes in order of like is willing to invest the time, the effort, sometimes the money, and the heart, mostly the heart, into what they want to achieve. It's very rare that they will not see some success. Um, like you can, it's a cliche, and like I can't believe I'm saying it, but you need to make your own luck, and set the scenery for luck to find you. Because even in there's like one in a million cases where it's happening, like the real thing is to seize the
Right.
opportunity.
I couldn't agree more. I think, and I see it so many times. I think once people start thinking, and I myself have been guilty of this in the past too, but once people start thinking that the world owes them, right?
Mm.
Then they're able to start actually, like you mentioned before, being opening themselves up for opportunities. The world doesn't owe us anything. Nobody owes
Yeah.
you anything. It's about of you creating your luck. Yeah.
yeah. The word couldn't care less.
Yes.
Like nothing will happen to us or to you because you deserve something. Uh, we're guests here for a second,
Yeah.
and we can only we can only try our best to be the best version of ourselves, and hope to catch a wave of good karma. So depends how you call it.
Mm-hmm. 100% there, totally. And like we're here for every amount of time we're here, hopefully 120 years, in order to make a bigger impact. That's what we're here for. In order to do a favor for someone else, in order to make the world a better place, that's what we're here for. But I have to understand, after such an incredible, you know, viewpoint where you have, I guess, and outlook on the world and the way of creating our own opportunities and unlock, I have to understand where this all came from. So like, where you from and what was your upbringing like?
So I grew up in Bnei Brak, like for an Orthodox family, and had a very happy childhood. Uh, Went to a religious school for yeshiva for quite some time, and for like 12 years, like total. And and I was very lucky because all of the schools that I went to, even though they were religious, they were very accommodating to all of my personal preferences and tendencies. So like I went to yeshiva, but still I could learn like physics and computer science and music and film and a lot of history. And I'm still like I owe them so much, like to them, to my mother, like that I was living in her house. But that was that was like the beginning of I think my good fortune. And during those years, I really invested in things that I cared about. It was like either technology, from cybersecurity to to the technology behind making music and computer games and even like online culture. Built a lot of software, a lot of useless software, but kind of like did a lot of my very basic training in understanding technology during those years. Um, and then I got drafted to a very cool unit in the intelligence corps. That no, again, it was very unlikely that they will even invite me, but somehow it happened. Um, and like it's funny that you brought it up. I even remember it's like I one of my best friends that are still my friends. I met during the tests, the exams to that course, and I remember we could not be more different. He was like this weird guy with dreadlocks that I never saw anyone with dreadlocks, like not on television. And I was this like religious fatty kid, shy, that felt that he carries the entire world on his shoulders. And he like him and I and me, like we really connected out of nowhere and helped each other. It was like a group dynamic kind of thing, and we helped each other doing those tests, and we were both like the only ones that actually passed. And that was it was like, incredible. Like I wonder if I would pass without his help, and I still very grateful for him. Like, I need to tell him that I'll see him in a few days, and and then I spent 5 6 years in the army as an intelligence officer, where I met one of my co-founders now. We're almost 20 years together, which is also another miracle that you can stay very friendly with someone, like become really best friends after so long. And I met there a lot of people that are still with me to this day. And after that, I had I traveled the world a bit. I met my wife like doing those travels. Another stroke of luck. Uh, you don't you're not always that lucky. I was working in a few things. Went to school, but somewhere during like my second year of school, I decided that I want to do a startup. Uh, it was 2009, 2010, something like that, and I always wanted to do that, but now I felt like it's time. But I didn't, I knew nothing about business. I didn't grow in a very business oriented house. Um, so I started educating myself about the business of technology. Like I knew technology, I didn't know the business of technology. I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship, about sales, about marketing. Like I did like all kinds of like small business stuff growing up. Like I had like a business, like I sold a friendship bracelet out of classroom when I was in the fourth grade, and I had my a production company with a friend in the 10th grade, but it wasn't very interesting. So I started educating myself. I spent most of that semester reading a lot of books about entrepreneurship, and then I had an idea with my first co-founder, a pretty stupid idea, but somehow we managed to convince a few of investors to invest in us. Also, like very, I basically search angel investors on Google. The first result, I looked for that person on Facebook, sent him a message, and I got an investment from him. And he was kind enough and open enough to even take the meeting and invest in me. Like it's Gigi Levy, which is the first person that believed in me. Not the first person that believed in me, the first person in technology that really believed in me. And he's now an investor in my company, and I love him to bits. And so, and since then, like I met like great employees, great managers, great customers. Like at one point, there was one of the interns that were working with us invited a friend of his uh, to visit us in the office. And I asked that guy who looked like he was a kid. I think he was like 22 or 23. Like, so what do you do? He said like I am a programmer. I said, sit here, take this test. It's like okay, you were hired. Don't move. And this guy stayed with us and started working with us, and eventually stayed in Israel, married an Israeli girl. He was from Miami. He started his own business, a very successful business in Israel, bootstrap. He's a true hero. Uh, we're still very close to this day, and this is also like luck. But I I seized it and said like, hey, sit here, take this test, and that became one of my most meaningful relationships. This tiny coincidence. Um, Now, fast forward, me and my co-founder moved to Silicon Valley to join an accelerator, and then like I happened to meet a guy there, and that happened to introduce me to someone, and that someone happened to be the CEO of like a big company that eventually acquired us. So again, like luck, but we were able to do something with this luck, and then like that company was SimilarWeb. It was in 2014 or 15, so it was like way before the IPO. It was still like a small company, and that was an incredible experience. I did a lot of things from marketing to sales to business development to product, everything. Helped like during the fundraising. That was the real school for me. Learned so much and so grateful for this experience. Then I moved to New York with SimilarWeb, with my wife in New York. Literally in the day that we moved to New York, my first daughter was born. So she was born super early, week 26. which is a less than 2 pounds baby. And she's fine now, but we spent like three months in the hospital, like shitty luck, right? Um, and during that time in the hospital, like after a month and a half, I started to get bored, and I decided to bring some work to my new office in the neonatal ICU. And one of the things that I did was the results of some script and the classifier that ranked the most popular links to some shared cloud hosting platform, and I was going over that very famous cloud hosting platform links one by one, and like the first one was boring. The first 10 was boring, but then like, and I remember to this day, like number 41, it was I stumbled upon gigs and gigs and gigs of pedophile content, which was horrific, and imagine the contrast of being there in this like hospital with all of those kids with your back literally to the wall and seeing this like horrific content, and something inside of me snapped, and I immediately emailed the CEO of that company and asked like, what's going on, like I how could you let this happen, and he answered after 5 minutes, which is insane, and said thank you so much for reporting it, and we're taking care of it right away. But and also introduced me to his trust and safety team, and we started a discussion, and eventually I thought about, hey, I do understand how this could happen using their existing technology, but maybe there's a different way of doing it, and that's like more uh, can be more beneficial for everyone. But I was doing, I was in the NICU. I didn't really give this a lot of thought. Like it kind of like had it planted in my head. I felt very good about myself. I reported this terrible content, and I helped the world, but I had a very specific problem to solve right now. And we were out of the hospital, but I still kept like paying attention. And then the whole 2016, like the disinformation discussion, in 2017, the whole terrorist attack on a lot of platforms, that a lot of terrorist propaganda and incitement were online, and I still had that idea of like how can toxic content, harmful content, from disinformation to terrorist content to hate speech to whatnot, can be can be won online. And then like another coincidence happened. Like a relative of mine that I actually never met or never spoke with reached out to me and said, "Hey, there's a tech platform that wants to ask his opinion about something related to the matter. Can you help me out?" And I was, what just happened? I said, yes, I can. And one thing led to another. We started ActiveFence. Now we're 200 and something people, doing pretty well. The company is growing. We're fighting disinformation, terrorist content, malware, child pornography, human traffickers, terrorists, you name it, and helping like tech platforms across every type of platform you can imagine. Stop those bad actors, stop those abusers, and really protect the world, protect the internet, make the world a safer place, creating as much impact as possible. And I know that this is kind of like I think the highlight of where luck meets your willingness and readiness to grasp it and take advantage of it. But I can't not see how much of the good things that happen to me, and but also the bad things that happen to me, are not related at all to stuff that I achieved or planned. Just happened, and we had like I was in the right place at the right time, but with the right capabilities. Hope that makes sense.
Wow, wow, that's a lot to unpack. I think one of the most amazing things so far I'm hearing throughout our conversation um, is the fact is your response. Um, First, your response to the luck, taking grabbing the opportunity, but also recognizing, which I think relates back to your own personal humility, that it's not me, right? That's not my ego. It's not I. It's, I happen to be
Yeah.
put in a place. I happen to be in the right place, the right position, the right time. To really, see the divine providence. In order to take advantage of the opportunity that I was placed in, which is, incredible to see. Which relates back, like I said, relates back to the humility, um, which is amazing. Which I think is also the foundation of the leader that you are, of your previous company and of this company, which I'm sure was also its own learning curve to becoming this leader.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's like I'm there. I'm learning every day. Like I need to learn every day. Like I need to be the best version of myself every day. It's like this is the only way that I can be the best CEO, the best entrepreneur, the best, let's say, the best person to this job, and also to be worthy of the position. Like I took a commitment, like to my employees, to my customers, to my investors, to my partners, to my family that I'm going to do this, and not just build a company. It's like I don't see the value in building a company. I see the value in making a difference, making an impact on people's life, on people, like it's like your employees, your customers. Besides of creating jobs, but you're also changing lives. Like you're creating a new mini society, like a small culture, and you can bring your values to this culture and to this group, um, and like build the best product, really bring benefits, bring value to your customers. You know that you're probably the best person to do this job, and you can't just like sit and say, okay, I build this company, I have this product, I'm good. Now I'm going to hire a bunch of folks and let's see what happens. It's like, no, you need to keep training. It's like a professional athlete. Like you don't you're not like, okay, now I am a professional athlete. Now like I'll see what happens between the races or between the contests. No, it's like the races are the easiest part. Like the hard part is like what happens between the Olympics, like the training, the eating, the being in the right mindset, failing, succeeding. That's the hard work.
Yeah. So then, in between those times of the races, now, first of all, I want to know the commitment that you tell yourself every morning when you get up. Like you just mentioned, you made this commitment to your investors. You made the commitment to your customers. You made the commitment to your employees. You made the commitment to your wife and your children. You made the commitment to yourself. Now, what's that
Hmm.
commitment that you tell yourself every single morning?
Um, if you tell yourself that every single morning, like I wake up and I'm going and hug my kids and take them to school and go to work. But I think it's this mindset that is always there. You always, and again, I think I'm very lucky that I feel this way because I really love what I do, and my hobby is my job, and the fun thing is that um, it became like a great way for me to choose the people that I work with, because definitely all of my partners, the co-founders, that are also like my best friends, and a huge part of our investors, and and our executive team, and the people who succeed the most, like at my company, are people that feel this way, that they really enjoy what they do to the extent that it's very hard to separate their occupation, their work, from their hobby. And sometimes it's in the beginning, I thought it's ridiculous. I tried to fight it and said like, hey, like you shouldn't be texting me at midnight on a weekend. Um, But then I remember that I was texting my previous CEO on on the midnight on the weekend, and I thought that I enjoyed that. I wanted to do that. I had this sense of ownership, and I actually would be offended if he wouldn't be answering me,
Mhm.
because it's like, no, I care about this right now. It's not about the work life balance. It's like I it's nobody expects me to do that. Like on the contrary, but I want to do this right now. It's like I want to pick up the guitar and start playing. I wanted to start thinking about how to make this KPI better because of two things. A, like specifically for ActiveFence, I if one of our KPIs is getting better, if the technology is getting better, so we make more people safer.
Mhm.
But also because it's like it's like a personal sport. Sometimes it's like you want to be better,
Mhm.
you want to break this record, you want to run faster, you want to lift more, you want to jump higher. It's personal between between you and the world.
Yeah.
So so it really drives me, and I think that it's super satisfying when you're feeling this way.
Mhm. I have to understand. You mentioned a lot. Showing up for the sport, showing up for the tennis match, showing up for the golf match, showing up for the Olympics, and you're there, and that's the easy part. Like everything you mentioned before, previously. In the act when you're in the actual throngs of it. But I want to understand what is it in between the Olympics, in between the championships, showing up every day. How is it that you are personally upskilling yourself, training
Uh,
yourself, so that you could show up better, so you can.
so invest in your capabilities. So a lot of reading. Wait a second. A lot of reading. So I think that like um, almost every free time that I have is somehow is being invested. Free time means that I'm not doing work, meeting with someone or with my family is tunneled into becoming like a better version. So even like I'm going to the gym and trying to be healthier, so I'm listening to a podcast about I don't know ABM, like account based marketing, or about how to better manage your board. I'm reading tons of stuff like about things that I care about, like from a business perspective or about the industry that I'm at. Um, I'm maintaining relationships that usually people that I admire and I can learn a lot from. Um, I'm also investing in being better in places that I know that I can improve. It's like I'm emotional. Sometimes I get like upset like too fast, so I'm working on that. Um, it needs to constantly be on your mind how to be a better version of yourself, and you need to. And again, it's like need. It's like I need that because it really brings me joy to see that I'm improving and to see that investing in one thing, like changing something else for the better. And no, there's also a chance that you become obsessive because you just need like one more book, one more whatever podcast, one more meeting, one more. But again, like I'm very fortunate because I'm enjoying that. I really like reading books about business. I really like reading the articles about my industry. So again, I'm very fortunate.
Right. Wow. Wow. You know, it's funny when you put in that work on yourself, right? When we put in that work on ourselves, it affords us the ability that we show up better everywhere else, in every single aspect in our life. So when you, like, say, for example, you mentioned going to the gym every single day. You're going to the gym, but you're not just going to the gym. You're going to the gym. When you show up to the gym, all the endorphins and the dopamine and the chemicals and everything that comes around there. Even forget about the physical aspect, but just like the mental aspect of it. it makes you, gives you the ability to show up better to your wife, better husband, better CEO, better team member, better everything. Everything has a direct effect that's correlated between everything. So like, as individual people, when we put in that work, when we show up, when we put in that work in ourselves, right, invest in ourselves, in our education, our upskilling, our mental health, our spiritual health, it affords us the ability to show up better in every single part of our life, every single division. It's so important. Wow. So then let's talk about ActiveFence for a second. ActiveFence, obviously is doing incredible things. It's an incredible, I would almost call like a social company, to a certain degree, like a social impact company, but at the same time, it's also a company with profit. You raised a monster round. I mean, $100 million coming out of stealth mode. That's absolutely impressive. I mean, these days, it's almost like seed money for all the amount of money that companies are raising these days, which is pretty crazy. But I want to understand your process, for going ahead and raising that type of money, and what type of advice and tips you could give for other founders that are fundraising too.
And honestly, I don't think there was like anything unique about the process. I think like we have a very good company in exciting market with like world class team and a great product, and the results spoke for themselves, and there wasn't a lot of preparation to do. I didn't even plan the round. It kind of like happened. Like I was actually, I'm not a very like outgoing person, so it's not that I had like an insane network, and like a few investors just reached out to me, and I didn't take any meeting for years, and which was a mistake, by the way. But I wanted to focus on the product, and then like one day, like at the beginning of this year, I started taking like a few meetings, and those meetings like led to term sheets, and then like I had to take more meetings, and in the process, I met some of the most inspiring, smart, incredible, um, humble people that I know, that became my investors. And again, like very lucky for them. There's a lot of there are a lot of people in the world, and they chose to invest in us, and there's not a single day that I'm not that I'm not in awe of the opportunity to be business partners with them. And I think this is also the most important advice that you can give someone. It's not hard today. I don't know. Maybe someone will hear this like 5 years from now, and it will be a very different market. But today, November 2021, raising money is not hard. If you have like a decent product and you're not a complete idiot, you can raise money from someone. And I think like there's like two things that are very important to consider. First, make sure that you are raising money for the right reasons. That you have like a good product, that you know what you want to do. You don't necessarily need to know what you're doing, but you need to know what you want to achieve and have a very clear vision and a mission in mind, and have some sort of a proof that you can like achieve what you're saying that you're going to do, and hopefully you have the right team to do that. And this is how you can be true to yourself, to your investors, and to your community. The community, again, define it however you want, like your family, your friends, like the world. And the second thing is choose and again a cliche, but choose the investors, because things are not going to be incredible all the time. And when things are going very well, all investors are great. Clap sounds exactly the same, no matter what's inside the person. But when the going gets tough, this is when the actual when people actually show themselves, and you want to have the right people with the right emotional balance and the right set of mind and the right vision to be with you. Like I again was blessed with investors, incredible investors, that even in the hard parts, and are there with me, either to to tell me this is where you got it wrong, and we hope you got a plan, and can keep me honest and accountable for everything, but in such a wonderful, responsible, pleasant way that I already know that even like after ActiveFence will be like a company that will last for decades. But even after that, I'm still going to want to work with those people. But I really like them personally, not just professionally. This is like probably the most important advice you can get. Don't raise at any cost because you can, and from everyone. Like, raise money because you need it, and you can't without it, and from the person that is going to complement you, going to be there even when it's tough.
Wow. So many thoughts. So many thoughts are going through my head right now. And I think a lot of it's also to hear, like, our conversation. One of the recurring themes throughout our conversation so far, and I think it's been most of it, and you brought the point out so clearly every single time, was the purpose and being able to recognize and taking advantage of luck within your life. But I think one of the other things that came out right now, currently, Elson, I'm able to see it much more now, was your gratitude. The gratitude that you have for this opportunity, to your investors, and also the humility that you have in order to be in such a fortunate position to lead an incredible team and to be able to represent incredible people, who trusted you with their money, customers, investors, and people trusting you with their livelihood, your
Yeah,
employees. They recognize the gratitude you have towards that. And you're not saying, hey, it's because I deserve it, or not saying because, hey, I'm Noam, and therefore I am, I deserve to sit on this throne. No, no. You realize the responsibility that you have, because it's a responsibility, and it's an honor to sit there. Not everyone deserves, every CEO deserves to be in their seat. You almost have to deserve it, and you recognizing that and able to that, looking at it as a true responsibility, every single day, is such an incredible, incredible thing that I think it should be preached constantly, much more, all the time.
like I'm very grateful for many of the things that happened to me, and many of the situations that I was part of. Like I, I was raised this way. Like I can't say that that it's nature. It's definitely nurture from very early age. So, but I think it's a very healthy way of living. It's not something that I'm doing that I'm aware of on a regular basis, but it is part of me. It's like when new employees are onboarding the company. No, that's fine. When new employees are onboarding the company, so the first thing that I'm telling them is thank you for choosing us, because I know how significant decision this is. So you're joining our story now. We are joining your story for I hope a long number of years. Um, and it's not trivial. You could be anywhere. You're now here with me. Like I'm boarding you to death with this onboarding session, and I wanted you to know that I appreciate it, and I'm not taking this for granted, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make this relationship more than time for money. I'm going to do everything in my power to make this worthwhile to you, and you will get out of this period of life like a better version of yourself. But
Right.
that's the least I can do.
Mm-hmm. So then, what type of, as you're building this company, as you're building yourself up, what type of environment and world do you want to build up for your own kids?
What type of environment in the world? A place where they can expect safety, and they can trust, all of their experience, all of their experiences. Um, איתי, ביקשתי שעוד 10. כן, אתה מפריע. And like as the world is developing more and more, and I'm actually a big believer, fan of the metaverse vision for a very long time, not in the last no day or month, like for decades now. I believe that if we want to do something in order to make sure that the internet is as the safety of the internet is as predictable as, at least from the society standpoint, as the physical world, those folks are going to be in a lot of trouble, and they must do something about it. And that's again the least they can do.
Right. Yeah. So then, what message do we tell a young Noah? Leaving university for the first time, he has the whole entire world in front of him. There's multiple opportunities that he has. He could do. He could go continue on his backpacking trip that he was doing in South America, or he could join a band and play music, or he could even join, the other favorite hobby, which is go gaming for the rest of your life, or joining one of these gaming teams and play, Fortnite for the rest of your life. What young message would we tell him facing the
Uh,
world and has so many opportunities in front of him for the first time?
Trust your instinct, and don't doubt yourself so much. Like I always thought there's that because I'm new, and I never. This is the first time that I ever doing it. I'm probably missing something. Probably like everybody knows better than me, and I'm still struggling with this with this thought. But now I know, like now it's just a feeling. It's not something that I know in my head. Like in my head, I know that like I have like good instincts. Like my partners
Right.
and a lot of the people that I work with, and trust your instincts and work according to them, and know that there's a lot of people in the world, and most of them doesn't necessarily know much more than you do. Is a huge thing that I wish I self doubts and pain. Uh, to be more complete, to be able to believe that that you're doing the best, that what you that you're doing the best you can, and it's probably good enough.
Right. Wow. Noam, I want to thank you. I want to thank you a tremendous
Thank
amount.
you.
And first of all, for all the listeners, if all the listeners would only see how you have your child on your lap right now through this interview, and being able to balance the two to help him keep quiet, and him playing all around and you keeping focused. If only they were able to anticipate and see it too, but they'll see the video component of it. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for this incredible, incredible conversation. I've learned a tremendous amount, and everything from being able to anticipate luck, being able to have humility, being able to look at the responsibility that you were given, the stewardship that was provided to you. You know, um, Not that you chose it, but it was almost given to you to handle. Now you have to use it with responsibility, and you have to be that steward. And multiple other different lessons I've learned from our amazing conversation. And like you say before, everything happens, everything's luck and divine providence. And the fact that you and me came together, which is a friendship for life, and then the coincidence that came together with that, it's also luck. And it also happens over there, which is amazing. So I want to thank you so much for sharing all this wisdom, because I know it's going to benefit thousands of people. And you're going to inspire hundreds of lives. And you're going to inspire that one person. That one person is going to make an impact on his life. That's going to wake up a different person tomorrow. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And I also I'm glad if I could help one person, that's worth everything for me. And also I can't wait to show this video to him in like 5-10 years ago, and we'll see what he will think about this situation.
I'm looking forward to that too.